Hello, my name is Klaus Edle from DLG, and on behalf of DLG and GIZ, I welcome you to this expert panel we jointly organized by these two organizations. With this talk, we also want to refer to the International Year of Plant Health proclaimed by the United Nations. And this actually leads me to the topic of this talk, which is organic farming with a strong focus on drought management in different regions of this world. We see here a map of Madagascar, which shows us actually that Madagascar is covered by different climatic zones. Especially in the very south of Madagascar, farmers really have problems with a very semi-arid climate and have to fight against drought. As well as in Germany, where the last few years were very dry, especially also in this year, farmers work on methods how to overcome drought stress in the field. And this actually leads me also to our experts in this talk, to Tahina Raharison from the ProSol project of GIZ in Madagascar, as well as Stephan Jung from the Chamber of Agriculture of North Rhine-Westphalia.
Hello, thank you for giving me an opportunity of this exchange and sharing experiences. I have a question to Mr. Stephan Jung. We have got an increasing problem with drought stress in southern Madagascar. So how do your organic farmers in Germany cope with drought years?
Yes, thank you. I'm happy to be here. And yeah, let me answer your question, or try to at least. A lot of farmers in Germany try to reduce soil tillage as much as possible to conserve water in the last years. This is also leads to increasing soil organic matter, which in the long run, by this increased organic matter, can increase the water holding capacity. However, there are also some challenges coming with it, especially regarding weed control, especially in organic farming, but there are also ways to overcome it. But in general, increasing organic matter is a good idea to keep more water in the soil. So the conventional method in Germany is to put slurry, solid manure or compost on the field to increase the organic matter content. However, slurry or solid manure is not always available to every farmer in Germany, and there are also some legal restrictions with regard to the amount of organic fertilizers. However, there are also some new, please go back one. However, there are some new possibilities there. This includes producing farmers-made compost. So the farmers have their own input material and put them into composting situation and create their own compost, and they apply this to increase their organic matter. But this is also heavy labor intensive, so there are some new mechanization processes coming to the farms which can decrease their labor amount to produce this compost. So more and more farmers are adapting to this and really producing their own compost now, and also put the compost then to the fields. And the other newer thing even is the cut and carry concept. Now you can go to the next slide, which is to really use one neighboring field and cut the clover grass mixture there and directly put this clover grass mixture freshly on the other field. This is firstly done for fertilization as a nitrogen source, so you don't have to buy conventional or a commercial fertilizer. So you have a good nitrogen source there, but farmers really like this cut and carry system with the clover grass mix too, because then they also really can increase their organic matter content there. Additionally, next slide, please. You can also directly sow or plant your crops into freshly cut winter catch crop. So you have over the winter often a catch crop. You have a soil cover over winter, and it also catches the nitrogen and other nutrients. And directly before you sow or plant your new crop, you just cut it and you plant your plants into this freshly cut grass. And by this you have a soil cover all the time, and you can also use the nitrogen and other nutrients stored into this. However, for this, if you have a lot of hectares, you have to do it mechanically, and there the technology is just developing, or there are solutions now, and more farmers are really actually doing this on their field, especially vegetable farmers. Yeah, but however, the short-time solution is still irrigation. In the last years, the demand for irrigation systems have increased a lot. You can see here a drip irrigation on this field, and in the background you can see also a sprinkler irrigation system. So many farmers are trying to adapt these systems, but it's not always possible. There is no infrastructure in some parts of Germany for this. So farmers really have to build this, and they have to invest really in this. And if you, depending on the crops you grow, it also has to be financially feasible to do this. But because of these last drought years, demand for this irrigation systems are increasing, and so we are all working with the farmers to tell them what may work on their sides and which is probably too costly or probably won't work. So we are trying with the farmers to find solutions there. But what about your place? What about Madagascar? How do you cope with increasing droughts there?
Okay, so I see that there are some similarities with German organic farming and some specificities also. To deal with drought in a traditional way and local way, farmers use some strategy. So by sowing for every rain without a precise cropping calendar, because it is really difficult for that. The production of production systems are based on hardy local crops, and they use also as a strategy the capitalization during the difficult period by selling assets as utensils, jewelry, and animals, and they are obliged to a temporary migration to a better condition places. It is the local way of dealing with drought. But with agroecological way, as you see in the picture, firstly, the strategy concerns the selection and characterization of hardy plants which are more suitable for a drought case. In general, hardy plants in the wild situation are not appreciated, but selection allows to target more useful varieties. For example, you can see in the picture the kunuke or lima peas that we use. Yes. In the other slide, we use also the crop diversification by introduction drought-resistant species and varieties like pearl millet or sorghum as a diversification for cereal needs. The staple foods in Madagascar is the rice, but it is not produced in the region because of the climate, and the corn, because the conditions are difficult for maize. So there are some alternative for food. In the other slide, we can see as an important strategy also the use of crop association and crop rotation with leguminous, especially with creeping plants. We use because to produce cover crops and mulch. For example, we use as a species kopi, doricos, and mucuna associated with maize and sorghum or pearl millet. And these systems are combined with reduced tillage. In fact, farmers are not used to bring in organic fertilization in this area. So, because with a very extensive breeding system that doesn't allow manure production and use of compost is limited by constraint of biomass and the availability of water. So their systems allows the increase of organic matter in the soil. Leguminous brings also nitrogen in the soils for cereals needs, and farming are not used to bring fertilizer especially. And crop association and rotation limit the soil and plant diseases. And the use of cover crop limits also evapotranspiration, so combat with this problem of drought. And reduced tillage protects the soil structure and soil organic matter. It is important for this tropical ferruginous soil in this area. I think there are some similarities with German organic farmers. So
yes. And I've heard that you are also trying some agroforestry systems. German farmers are also interested in that. How do you deal with this new ideas in Madagascar?
Okay, so in this subarid area, the agroforestry system is not based on association between trees and crops within the plots, because it could cause some water competition. As you see in the picture there, the principle is based on the use of shrubby legumes like pigeon peas, as you see in the right to left on the picture, and the fast-growing trees like acacia as a leguminous choice and as hedgerow or hedging techniques. So you can see also in the other slide, as other principles, the use of we named it agroecological block. So we use the combination of different agroecological techniques in plots and in a large area, as it is shown. And you can see the picture after also. The advantage or the multifunction of hedgerow, it is used as a windbreaks. The trade winds produce trade winds in this area. Hedgerows create some microclimate in the contour plots by limiting evapotranspiration and avoiding the impact of dry winds. The pigeon peas can be eaten as a food security, and the systems can produce also more biomass for animals fodders, for example, or for organic matters because of the leaves could be used as a mulch in the plot, and the biomass and firewood or wood production also is an advantage, and it can fight against desertification, as you can see in the other picture. It can impact the landscape. Mm. You can see in the picture in the left the classic landscape of the southern region of Madagascar, and in the right with agroecological blocks, and their pictures were taken in the same place and during the dry season. So as a remark, in this area, farmers don't use heavy mechanization, so it is possible to put a hedgerow, especially scrubby legumes, more closely. So as a disadvantage, finally, it takes time for trees to be implemented, and it is difficult to grow seedlings in this region with constraints of water.
Okay.
And for big trees, some water competition has been observed. That's why the use of shrubby legumes are more developed in this region.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. You gave me a lot of input and a lot of interesting ideas that we can maybe try with other tree and shrubby species also here in Germany. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
So it's on me to thank you, Stephan and Tahina, for your short introduction into the challenges of your respective region. So we see that worldwide we have to fight against similar problems, and maybe we can increase this international exchange of methods. The GIZ and DLG is already working with. For all who are more interested in those topics, we will set some links to the projects on the DLG webpage. And I also want to invite you to the DLG-Feldtage next year in June, which is an open air trade fair in northwest of Germany, where you can really talk and exchange with experts in the field. So finally, I want to thank you, Tahina and Stephan, for your input in this short talk. It's always too short. And want to thank also DLG, GIZ, and the Chamber of North Rhine-Westphalia for make possible this expert panel. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.